Thank you, everyone, for your patience. I will now call the annual town meeting to order this evening. We did have a deputy moderator appointed and sworn in by Mr. Horgan before the beginning of the meeting this evening for the overflow seating. So as long as no one has any objection, we will continue the meeting with Mr. Goodwin. Samuel Goodwin has been sworn in and was appointed by the moderator. So again, if we do not have any objections. I'm just making sure that anybody in the overflow seating does not have any objections. It's our first time. Okay, there being no objections, we will continue forward with our annual town meeting with the moderator, Samuel Goodwin.
Please stand for a pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, the stage introductions. On the Board of Selectmen side, we have Sean Copeland, the chairman, Scott Hood, vice chair, and Janice Livingston, clerk. Town manager Robert Pontrand is present. On the FinCom side, Patrick Diamond, the chair, and I believe the balance of the FinCom is in the front rows. Town clerk Susan Copeland, town council Mark Wright from the firm of K&P Law. All right, read the charge.
Good evening. Town of Ayer annual town meeting warrant. Ayer Shirley Regional High School Auditorium, 141 Washington Street, Ayer, Massachusetts, 01432, June 15th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Middlesex County. Greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Ayer, qualified to vote in town elections and affairs, to meet at the auditorium in the Ayer Shirley Regional High School, located at 141 Washington Street, Ayer, Massachusetts, on Monday, the 15th day of June, 2020, at 7 o'clock in the evening, then and there, to act on the following articles. Hereof, fail not, and make due return of this warrant, with your doings thereof, to the town clerk before the date appointed for said meeting. Given under our hands the 7th day of April, 2020. Scott Hood, chair, Janice Livingston, vice chair, Sean Copeland, clerk. A true copy attest, Susan Copeland, town clerk, on April 10th, 2020. As directed in the foregoing warrant, I have this day posted 3 attested copies in 3 public places, one of which was the town hall at least 14 days before said meeting, all as herein directed. Constable Samuel Goodwin, Jr., April 10th, 2020.
For all those in this room, there is a 40-second time delay between here and the overflow, so we have to afford a little bit of time for questions and responses. Thank you. Article 1, town elections. Town elections are the first article of business and were held on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. Article 2, to see if the town will vote. Oh, they read them. Okay. Article 2, salaries of elected officials. To see if the town will vote to fix the salary and compensation of elected officers of the town of Ayer as provided by Section 108, Chapter 41 of the general laws as amended, or take any action thereon or in relation hereto. Moderator, FY20 salary $530, FY21 $541. Chairman, Selectman Chair, FY20 salary $26.59, FY21 salary $27.13, 2% increase. Selectmen members, 2, FY20 salary $2,373, FY21 salary $2,420, 2% increase. Assessors, the chairman, 2020 salary of $2,633, FY21 salary $2,686, 2% increase. Assessors, members, 2, $2,345, FY20 salary, $2,392 FY21 salary, 2% raise. Sponsors, Board of Selectmen, FinCom recommends, simple majority vote required.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Livingston.
I move that the town vote to fix the salary and compensation of elected officers of the town of Ayer as contained in Article 2 and read by the moderator.
All those in favor say aye. Oh, we second? I'm sorry. I need a second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. 40-second delay. Okay. The ayes have it. Article 3, contract funding, Ayer Town Hall Clerical Union, AFSCME 93. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to fund the first year cost items of a collective bargaining agreement between the town of Ayer and the Ayer Town Hall Clerical Union, AFSCME 93, for a period of July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2023, or take any action thereto or in relation thereof. Sponsored, Board of Selectmen, FinCom recommends, simple majority required.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Copeland.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $23,196 to fund the first year cost items of the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Ayer and the Ayer Town Hall Clerical Union, AFS CME 93, as contained in Article 3 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Motion's been, what? Motion moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Bedertha.
Mr. Moderator,
Sir?
through you to Mr. Bedertha's question. First, as town meeting is aware, all contract funding requires appropriation by town meeting. So the contracts are negotiated by the town manager and his team with the respective union. It culminates into a memorandum of agreement, which then goes to the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen then ratify that memorandum of agreement, which has been on the town's website. And then Article 3 is before you tonight, looking for the funding for the contract. And it's the funding for the first year of the contract in the amount of $23,191. It is a 3-year agreement. The total over the 3 years of the agreement is $54,995, and the collective bargaining agreement covers the 17 employees of the Town Hall Clerical Union.
Did that answer your question, sir?
Through the, Mr. Moderator, to Mr. Bedurtha, town meeting has to approve the funding for all of the contracts. This was the only contract that is up right now. Next year, before town meeting, the police contract will be before you, as well as others.
Any further questions or discussion? We're waiting for the other room. Yeah.
We need to repeat the question.
Yes.
So be sure to repeat the question before answering.
Okay.
Because they can't hear the question.
Yeah.
So.
Is there a question?
No, they were just saying they can't hear the
Okay,
question.
thank you.
And he answered it.
All right, motion been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next article, omnibus budget, Article 4. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of money and transfer $27,998 from free cash for the omnibus items or take any action thereto or in relation thereto. Department 100, General Government, Department 200, Finance, Department 300, Public Safety, Department 400, Public Works, Department 500, Human Services, Department 600, Management Support. We got to go through this one at a time?
We flip to this page, we
Yeah.
go through line by line and just read the departments. If anyone has a question, they can yell pass, and we'll come back to it.
All right, we'll go through the budget.
Okay, so wait for her to finish.
All right, department by department. If there's a question, just say pass and we'll hold it. Department 100 is General Government. Excuse me?
Pass.
Yep. Department 200, Finance. Department 300, Public Safety. Department 400, Public Works.
So usually go selectmen, town council, town clerk.
You just told me to read each one.
Yeah, these, all of them.
Bear with me, please. Department 100, General Government. So,
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of money and transfer $27,998 from free cash to fund the omnibus items set forth in the fiscal year 2021 omnibus as presented in the warrant and read by the moderator.
Okay.
Seconded.
Okay.
Fair enough. Thank you. All right, we have to get a motion.
You have to make sure it hasn't been seconded.
Has the motion been seconded?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Discussion. I'm going to read departments. If there's a specific item in that department you want to talk about, then we'll say pass. I'm not going to go through line by line by line. So now we'll go back to the Department 100 was general government, and we have a pass on that. Okay. Department 200, Finance. Department 300, Public Safety. Department 400, Public Works. Sir. No, sir. We're getting it here.
So, yes.
Well, so far there has been no questions.
There, we have an individual at the door. If there's a question, they hold their hand up so we can see it and then we can wait for it. That's the way we're doing it.
We're doing sort of a telephone game.
Repeat the question. What question?
Oh. For everyone in the overflow, the question was a concern if your questions are being heard here in the main room and we're following the questions come up on my screen. I have a laptop. There's also 2 to 3 people between the 2 rooms that are holding up their hands to let us know that a question is coming through. So we just have to, I think, continuously repeat the questions and slow down a little bit
All
until
right.
we get the rhythm.
Well, as it stands right now, we're at Department 400, Public Works. Pardon me? Yes, ma'am? Ms. Connolly? I believe it was the town clerk that was reading the questions back, if there were questions.
Okay.
All right.
So
What we have, where we are right now is 4 passes. Department 100 pass, Department 100 pass, Department 300 pass, and Department 400 pass. I understand that in prior years, town council said it wasn't necessary because of the length of time it would take. So he said it wasn't necessary. If the town wants me to read line by line, I'll read line by line, but we're going to be here a while.
Mr. Moderator, if I may.
Sir,
First of all, the open meeting law does not apply to town meeting. Second of all, I think that everybody in this room would appreciate the efficiency of moving this forward, whether or not this issue of whether people could hear or not is not going to be benefited, in my opinion, by going line by line through the budget. I understand that in past years we have gone line by line, but the intent again is to move this meeting as quickly and efficiently as possible so that individuals in this room can get out of this room as quickly as possible, given that we are in an emergency situation and we're dealing with this in an emergency situation. I think the recommendation now would be that the moderator will read back any passes that are called, and the town clerk will read any questions that are called, and that should hopefully make the meeting more efficient. If it fails to do so, then obviously a point of order could be raised, and we could try to revise that. I think this is just, we're in trying times right now, Ms. Connolly, and I think we're just trying to move this meeting along as effectively as possible.
Sir? Pardon?
Again, though, and as the gentleman pointed out, the intent is to address that now. I think the point has been heard. The moderator will read out the holds as they are presented, and the town clerk will read back any questions. And if we fail to do so, you certainly can remind us. Thank you.
Right, so I need to enter. Yep. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna reread, so we're at. Right, so I would just go back to line 100 and wait.
Well, they already have all that already.
I would just read it.
All right.
Okay. The discussion was, or the concerns is that in our second seating area, you are not hearing the questions being read back to you. So we are going to start again at line 100 and pause. We do know that we have a pass, but we will pause to ensure that you hear it in the second room, and we will move on to the next line. That would be the most efficient and fair compromise at this time.
Department 200 had no pass. We don't know about the second room yet. Department 300 had a pass. And we were up to Department 400 with a pass. Nothing? All right. Department 500, humans,
I would say there's a pass for Department 500.
apparently, human services.
Department 500 has a pass.
Department 600, management support.
And Department 600 has a pass for management support.
All right. Okay. Why don't we do it now? Yeah. We take 5 minutes, please. We're going to try to bring the overflow people over. This doesn't seem to be working well.
So we have 2 point of orders from the other room. Mr. Moderator, we do have 2 point of orders from the overflow room. And there is no longer a point of order, I believe, because everybody's being brought in here.
Learning experience.
So that you're just going to...
Lori, you made it.
Yeah, they can sit there. That's finance committee and they're not here.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no, Becky, you can move down, yeah.
We're all set now? Now we're all in the same boat. All right, as we left off, we had gotten to Department 600 and we have 5 passes. So we'll start, the motion's been seconded, so we'll start with Department 100. Selectmen, FY '21, $272,434. Town Council, $110,000. I'm sorry, $100,000. $100,000 even on Town Council. Town Clerk, $137,323. Excuse me? Well, you said pass for that, 100, Department 100.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Moderator, it might make sense, now that you've gotten a pass on a specific department, to simply ask the meeting, if someone had a pass, to rise and tell you what the pass was for, and then to make whatever comment they want to make, rather than reading the individual line.
It works. All right, Department 100, Mr. Bedurtha.
So this,
Mr. Bedurtha, let me do one thing here. Mr. Pontran, you have a brief presentation?
I do.
Did you put it on?
I can, yes.
That might answer your question.
can I repeat the question so everybody knows what the question is on
So-
the first line for selectmen? The question is on the 4% wage increase, Mr. Bedurtha? Okay.
So, Mr. Moderator, through you, if I could briefly, just a brief overview of the budget, and then through you, get specifically to Mr. Bedurtha's first question, if that's
Please.
okay with you. First of all, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen in the town of Ayer, we want to thank all of you for your patience and understanding during this unprecedented time, not only tonight, but since the beginning of March. We greatly appreciate your support and patience. What I wanted to do this evening on the omnibus budget is just provide the town meeting with a very brief overview, and in the interest of time, and I know things are running behind, I'm going to go very quickly, I'm sure much to the joy of many. I just want to point out that the omnibus budget in Article 4 is a $15.6 million budget. It represents a 3.3% increase from FY 2020, and the average increase of the omnibus since FY 2014 has been 5.1%. So it is below average in terms of the increase. As we move into the budget discussion tonight, I want to assure the town meeting that the town's finances during COVID-19 remain extremely strong, and we are in a strong position, which we all should be proud of. At this time, almost all of the revenues have been collected for FY 20. Based on the town's current economic trends, we anticipate a financial impact to be experienced by the town sometime early this fall. The town implemented a townwide spending policy on April 24th, which requires all spending over $1,000 to be verified in terms of appropriation, as well as subject to approval by the town manager's office and finance manager. We've been tracking all COVID-19 expenses since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic for the purposes of reimbursements from federal and state sources. And I'm pleased to report that the majority of the COVID-19 expenses, which are approximately $40,000 to date, of those roughly 75% will be reimbursable from FEMA, MEMA, or the CARES Act, which was passed on April 1st. Those COVID-19 expenses are largely due to public safety overtime, PPE for town personnel, and various IT technology that was needed for remote participation. Next slide. As mentioned, we're at $41,000 in expenses to date. We actually received our first reimbursement in the amount of $28,000 from the CARES Act, and that's an ongoing process this year. Ayer is eligible for $710,000 in COVID-19 reimbursements through December 30th. So we will continue to submit for reimbursement where applicable. Next. And for the purposes of tonight, which I really wanted to stress, and the Board of Selectmen have been talking about this since May, we enter into the COVID-19 crisis, as I mentioned, from a very strong financial position. We have over $12 million in reserves, over $2.5 million in the stabilization fund, $2.1 million in capital stabilization, $2.9 in the unrestricted UDAG fund, which is under the Board of Selectmen. There's an additional $2.6 million in unused tax levy capacity, and in terms of certified free cash, there's over $1.7 million for a total of $12 million in reserves. None of these reserves have been touched to date. It's important to note that the majority of these reserves, specifically stabilization and capital stabilization, would require an active town meeting to access. Next. So one of the things for tonight that we wanted to mention as we discuss the budget, the Board of Selectmen will be recommending tonight that town meeting defer 3 articles till the fall town meeting. Article 14, Article 25, and Article 26. Why are we recommending deferring those articles? All 3 of those articles would normally ask you to take action on the free cash. We have reason to believe, again, that the impact from COVID-19 will hit this fall first in the form of state aid. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts is estimating, and nobody knows for sure, at least a $7 billion shortfall in state aid. Fortunately, the town of Ayer receives only $995,000 in state aid for FY21. We're recommending deferring these 3 articles to free up $1.4 million for when we come back in the fall. Town meeting will be able to address any potential impacts to state aid, as well as any other impacts to the budget. Next. And here you have it outlined for tonight. Article 14 was a UDAG reimbursement of $230,000. That was for the Worthingdale eminent domain lawsuit. The Board of Selectmen already had authorized payment to resolve that lawsuit. This was to replenish that. We're recommending that town meeting wait till the fall to do that. Article 25 was a proposal to forward fund the pension in the amount of $300,000 to realize various cost savings. We're recommending let's defer that to town meeting in the fall. And lastly, Article 26 was the stabilization article, which is like the town's savings account, $949,000, that we wait until the fall to transfer that. Will free up $1.4 million for the town meeting in the fall to have an ability to address the COVID-19 impacts. Because in talking with the finance manager and the internal finance team, we do not have any definitive financial data yet to warrant making specific cuts and reductions. However, we are planning in the fall with town meeting to make some of those difficult decisions if needed. Lastly, the budget building block slide we show each year, showing on one side the revenues of just over 31 million, the expense and savings on the other side of 31 million, showing how we get to a balanced budget. Next. Here, just pointing out is the revenue and expenditures, and pointing out on the top again that state aid number. We're fortunate that we're not heavily reliant on state aid because we anticipate that to be one of the first impacts. Next. This just showing the trend in omnibus revenue since FY18, an increase. Next. Revenue movement. Want to just point out on the debt exclusion line, the third one down, there's a decrease of $568,000. That's largely from the fire engine that town meeting approved last year has been purchased, so that will be coming off the debt exclusion. Next. Our operating expenses, of course, continue to increase from last year to this year. Not as much of an increase, as I mentioned, about 3.3%. The average has been 5.1%. It continues to be a work in progress, obviously, to have the least amount of increase from year to year. Next. Just want to show this pie graph as a visual. On the far right, the large 50% is wages. The town of Ayer, like every municipality, is in the personnel service delivery business. Police, fire, DPW, town hall, library. We provide services for people. We need to pay people. That's our largest impact in the budget at 50%. The benefits about 13%. Next. Again, in the budget this year, as far as the major drivers, health insurance was about a 5.5% increase. Our Middlesex retirement pension, about a 5.9% increase. Slight decrease on debt service. The police department, fire department, and public works, police increase at 4.8, fire at 7.6, and public works at 2.8. Again, a largely personnel, wages, and benefits for the professionals that do these jobs is the large piece of the increase. Next. And then, actually, I'm all set on that. So I thank you, Mr. Moderator. I know that was very quick, but in the interest of time, I know there'll be specific questions on the omnibus. Yes, and through the moderator to Mr. Bedurth's question earlier on the omnibus. And the question was, just to repeat, on the selectmen's line, there's a difference of $10,674 or 4% wage increase only. That is the total increase. That is for two positions. The town manager and the assistant town manager have contractual step increases that are each about 2%. So that represents the two positions, not a 4% increase for each position.
Any other questions on Department 100?
The question is on 11, 4th of July celebration, that there's no fireworks and will there be a parade? Correct?
Mr. Moderator, through you to Mr. Kelly's question, in the omnibus, as you see, the 4th of July account has been reduced to 5,000. Obviously, the 4th of July fireworks were canceled prior to all of this last fall due to public safety concerns. Additionally, due to COVID-19, unfortunately, very difficult decision, out of public safety and public health, the 4th of July parade has also been canceled, as it has been in many communities. This budget, if passed, would leave $5,000 for the 4th of July for next year, and there's about a balance of $14,000 in the account that the committee has raised through businesses and residents. So we're really looking towards FY21 as far as the events, and feel that rather than zeroing the budget completely out, keeping $5,000 from town meeting, which historically has generously given $10,000, keeping $5,000 and planning for next year. That's what we're proposing for next year's purposes.
Ms. Maxim, do you have a question? Excuse me. Excuse me. Is there a question in there? This is not germane. No, it's not. We're talking about budgeted dollars for purposes, not whether or not we're going to put lights up or going to put trees up. The fact of the matter is, it's not germane. Sir, you want to make a motion? Wait, just, what's your motion? Stop.
Okay.
Is there a second? All in favor? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Discussion? Sir? Thank you.
First, let me say that I do think that her question is germane. I think it is certainly appropriate that she question how that might be going to be spent. But what I would ask is, has the DPW or the tree board been contacted by the state, who will be planting these trees, and been instructed not to put lights on?
Mr. Moderator.
Sir?
Through you to Mr. Curran's question. Respectfully, to the point made, the town of Ayer works very closely with Mass DOT regarding the Rotary, and it is their Rotary and it is their trees. And respectfully, through the moderator, I have spoken directly with District 3 that oversees the Rotary, and we would coordinate with them with these lights as far as which trees they could go on and could not go on. Of course, we wouldn't break the small ones. The spirit of the request through the moderator was that there are more trees there, and the thinking was by adding more lights to make a better display, and especially in COVID-19, where group events are significantly impacted, it would be an opportunity to further impress upon the Rotary and the town for the benefit of the residents. That was the intent, and that is the plan.
I am totally in favor of lights on the trees.
But, yes, yes. Through the moderator, to be clear, if we move forward with it, as we do everything, the Department of Public Works would coordinate with Mass DOT for the best interests of the plantings, et cetera.
More discussion? Yes, sir. Mr. Bedurtha. Thank you. Mr. Kelly. Any other further discussion? Motion is on the table. It's been seconded to remove the $5,000 increase to the holiday lights. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Excuse me? I hadn't got there yet, Ms. Conley. All right, we have to count. I need 2 counters. All those in favor of the motion, stand and hold your card up, please. All in favor, hold your card.
Favor of the reduction, right?
In favor of the reduction. Correct.
I think there's 2 more people over there that might be missing.
2 more.
All those opposed, stand and hold your card up, please. Count turned out 45 aye.
Use the microphone.
Microphone.
The count turned out 45 for, 51 against. The motion did not pass. The 5,000 stays in. Okay. All right. Any other questions on the Department 100? All right, Department 200, Finance. That was a pass.
There wasn't.
No,
No, there was no.
Oh, I'm sorry,
There was no pass.
300. Department 300, Public Safety, there was a pass. Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Bedurtha. Speak up, please.
The question is how much the deputy chief makes. A year? A year.
Mr. Moderator,
Sir.
through you to Ms. Bedurtha's question, we are proposing the position of deputy chief. In the proposal, the compensation for that position, as put in the note, is $101,392. There is currently not a deputy fire chief, but we are proposing that position at that amount.
Excuse me. Speak up, please.
Why do we need a deputy chief for the fire department?
Mr. Moderator,
Yes, sir.
through you to Mrs. Bedurtha's question, if there is an objection from you, Mr. Moderator, I'd ask the fire chief to address that question.
Absolutely. Chief Pedraza.
Mr. Moderator,
Sir.
is this on? People hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I do have a slide that it's up there. The biggest reason is for succession planning. And this is not a new request. I've been looking for this position for 8 years. It just finally got to town meeting. I'm retiring in October, and we really don't have a good succession plan. There's no second in command like in the police department. They have the deputy chief. The DPW has the engineer that's second in command. My department doesn't really have a second in command. So if I'm out injured or sick, there's nobody that does my job. There's a lot of meetings that I don't get to attend that a deputy chief could attend, that only a chief can attend, deputy or a chief. We have a fire prevention position, and when he's out on vacation, it's such a technical job now, things change very quickly. Deputy chief could mentor that position and fill in for him when he's out, if he gets out injured or if he's on vacation. There's a lot of confidential discussions that could take place between a deputy chief and a chief. Right now, I have to use out-of-town chiefs to get input from. There's nobody in the station. And it just would be an overall help to the department, and it's a needed position. Does anybody have any further questions while I'm up here? No, it's going to be an internal hire if it passes. My position, I don't know what the town's doing for my position yet, but the deputy chief will come from within the department, and it's a non-union position.
Any further questions?
No, couldn't.
No, that's not the intent of the position. The intent of the position is to have another non-union person in the building.
Would you like to make a motion, Ms. Bedurth?
Well, if I may, because a lot of people aren't able to hear, so I just wanted to, so for the benefit of everybody, the comment is the concern about all the increases and the increasing of another position and the financial cost to the taxpayers. Is that a fair summary? Okay, just because trying to make sure everybody can hear the dialogue.
Would you like to make a motion?
So the question is if everyone will, if all the employees will not request an increase? Am I saying that? Okay.
I don't see how that's germane to this.
Your question on the table was about the deputy fire chief, the position. You questioned that. I get that. I also understand your concern about public income, what people are doing and not doing. So right back to my original question, is that a motion? You'd like to make a motion to postpone the deputy chief's position. Is that correct? Is there a second? Sir.
If I may, please. The position itself is not on the warrant. It would be, we're voting on, or discussing and then voting on funding items. So that a motion with respect to a dollar amount would be appropriate, but the reference to the position itself, if town meeting voted down that position, that would not change the funding. So if the intent is to eliminate the position, it would only be able to be done with the elimination of the dollars, not the position itself.
So you want, you're,
It's not my motion,
Okay.
it's not what I want.
so, okay. There's one on the table right now. Your motion is on the table right now. It was seconded. All in favor of Ms. Bedurtha? Yeah, it's a discussion on the motion. None. Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Maxson. Ms. Maxson, we're trying to clear up the motion on the floor right now. Okay?
I can answer that question later.
Let's get that one out of the way. Back to your question. Your motion was to eliminate the deputy fire chief position. That was your motion.
Yes.
It was seconded? Sure. She can, yeah. She can withdraw it.
So motion with.
Withdraw the motion and we'll. Fine. Motion to eliminate the deputy fire chief position has been withdrawn. Now, is there further discussion on this line item?
For the order, name and address, please.
Thank you. Go on.
I can generalize. It's about a $10,000 difference in salaries, and then we would be bringing in a new hire at a much lower rate, roughly around 50,000.
Any further discussion on public safety? Yes, sir.
Chief, just looking to see if you were looking to change the structure that you had in place at the fire department constantly, if you add in the deputy chief, are you looking to take out one of the captain's lieutenants, or would this key position only in addition to the structure that's in?
The position would be in addition to what we have today. It would be another person around during the daytime hours to answer calls, in addition to what we have for personnel now. It would be a 40-hour-a-week position, day position.
Yes, sir. Any further discussion on public safety? All right. Done with that. Department 400, Public Works. Somebody passed on it. I'll move it. Is there any discussion on 400? Yeah. Nope. Department 500, Human Services. There was a pass on this. Mr. Kelly. Excuse me?
Mr. Moderator,
Sir.
through you to Mr. Kelly's question. As I mentioned, we truly are in unprecedented times, and some of our departments, such as library, council on aging, parks, all departments are on new territory. With respect to the Parks Department, it's important to note that when this entire budget was put together and pretty much finalized, it was March before this all happened. The Parks Department, and I know there are folks here through the moderator that can speak to this, the Parks Department does have personnel that are maintaining all of the assets that need to be maintained, and Jeff and his employees do an excellent job. At this time, with the Sandy Pond Beach, just to be clear, the Board of Health has not issued a permit for them to open yet, citing COVID-19 issues. However, it is June. There is still some of a season that's still being looked at. So through the moderator, to answer your question, with respect to the Parks Department, it's the position of the town at this time to keep the budget as it is. If some of these positions are not filled, say such as lifeguards, or only part of a season occurs, any of the remaining funds that aren't used would revert back to the town. But at this point, even on June 15th here at town meeting, as I said in the beginning, I still think it's premature and a detriment to certain departments to start to make reductions when we don't have all of the information yet. Yeah. And through the moderator, we anticipate when town meeting returns in the fall to be able to show savings in the event if certain activities haven't happened, of course. And I think that's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Sir?
Through the moderator, correct. And Mr. Gleason.
Further discussion on human services? All right. Department 600, management support. There was a pass on that. Not. Fair enough. What? Oh. Sorry.
Mr. Moderator,
By all means.
through you to Mr. Bedurtha, and the question was, what accounts for the 29% increase in the management line support, management support line? The first item for town meetings benefit, there is a personnel position in this line item. It's the administrative coordinator. It's a full-time position at town hall. That position is in the town hall clerical union. The position provides support for the building department and the planning department, as well as the Board of Health. So it's a multi-department support position. So part of that increase, there is a contractual step increase for that position. As you'll also see, there's a $3,500 increase in printing costs. We use that, for example, for the printing of the warrants you have, the budget book that you may have picked up coming in, as well as the annual town report. Next year, we've contracted with a company called ClearGov for $5,500. We are going to have an online budget and annual town report function as well. This module will allow departments to use an online platform for the budget process, but it will also provide the public and residents with more information on the budget, as well as different ways that you want to personally display the information. And lastly, the general code project, which later in the town meeting, two of the warrant articles which update the format of the bylaws and regulations in the zoning bylaw. It's an ongoing legal service with general code. Will periodically, annually update whatever regulations or bylaw changes are made, and provides a whole web-based platform for residents and businesses to access the bylaws and the regulations. So when you take all of those items which are in the margins of the warrant, that's what accounts for the 29% increase in the management support line.
Is there any further discussion on Department 600 management support? There being none, that's the full omnibus. And it's been moved and seconded, so, sorry? Excuse me? Yeah, any further discussion? All those in favor of Article 4 omnibus budget, say aye.
Before the vote is taken, I just recommend that you read out the total dollar amount for the budget, so everybody knows the bottom line budget that they're voting on.
All right.
That'll be the very bottom line.
There it is, all right. The total budget for FY 2021 is $15,626,301. Now, please, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. It passes.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, sir. Article 5, FY 2021 Ayer Shirley Regional School District Assessment. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $11,525,813 as required to fund the town's FY 2021 assessment for the Ayer Shirley Regional School District, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $933,512 for the town's portion of the ASRSD High School Building Project debt service, or take any action thereto or in relation thereto. Sponsor Ayer Shirley Regional High School Committee. Board of Selectmen recommends, FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Livingston.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $11,525,813 to fund the town's FY 2021 assessment for the Ayer Shirley Regional School District, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $933,512 for the town's portion of the Ayer Shirley Regional School District High School Building Project Debt Service as contained in Article 5 and read by the moderator.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Bedurth.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Mr. Bedurth's question about the town of Shirley, it's my understanding that the town of Shirley's town meeting will put forth their assessment article on June 29th to fund the FY21 school year.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Article 6, FY 2021 Neshoba Valley Technical Vocational School Assessment. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $870,317 required to fund the FY 2021 assessment for the Neshoba Valley Regional Technical High School, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by Neshoba Valley Technical Vocational School Committee. Board of Selectmen and FinCom recommend.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Copeland.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $870,317 required to fund the fiscal year 2021 assessment for the Neshoba Valley Regional Technical High School as contained in Article 6 and read by the moderator.
Discussion. Yes, Ms. Bedurth.
Mr. Moderator,
Please.
through you to Ms. Bedurtha, the question is how many Air students attend the district? Through you, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Chris Prell is one of the representatives to the school committee from Air. Can probably best answer that question. 55.
Thank you. Further discussion? Article 6. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 6 passes. Article 7. These are enterprise fund articles. Article 7, solid waste. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the following funds to operate the solid waste department. Direct costs of $460,491, of which $331,300 is to come from solid waste revenue. $35,779 is to come from solid waste retained earnings, and $93,412 is to come from tax levy and indirect costs of $119,161 is to come from tax levy, or take any action thereon or in relation to. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Sir.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $460,491 for direct costs, of which $331,300 is to come from solid waste revenue, $35,779 is to come from solid waste retained earnings, and $93,412 is to come from the tax levy, and to appropriate $119,161 for indirect costs to come from the tax levy to operate the solid waste department as contained in Article 7 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Article 8, ambulance. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the following funds to operate the ambulance department. Direct costs of $185,980 is to come from the ambulance revenue, and the indirect costs of $406,233, of which $270,212 is to come from ambulance revenue and $50,000 from the ambulance retained earnings, and $86,021 is to come from tax levy, or to take any action thereon or in relation to. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, and FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Livingston?
I move that the town vote to appropriate $185,980 for direct costs to come from ambulance revenue and appropriate $406,233 for indirect costs, of which $270,212 is to come from ambulance revenue and $50,000 from ambulance retained earnings, and $86,021 from the tax levy to operate the ambulance department is contained in Article 8 and read by the moderator.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Yes, Ms. Conlon. Name and address, please. Name and address, please. Thank you. Your neighbor. Yes, ma'am? I'm sorry. Wait, what?
There's a
Hold-
point
one
of
minute,
order.
please. I have a point of order.
Yep.
Mr. Moderator?
Your
Right.
question is why, or is there a tax levy?
Yeah, this is not the first year. Last year was the first year that there was a subsidy from the town. It's increased calls, and even though everyone's supposed to have insurance now, when you get $146 from Mass Health, it doesn't cover the expenses of the ambulance. So it's running a lot tighter than it used to.
Further discussion? Ms. Bedard?
We've had 2 ambulances for about 15 years now. And it does pay 25% of everyone's salary that works there, including the overtime. 35% of my salary comes out of that budget. In recent years, the state's allowed money to come out of there for the accountant and the treasurer, which depletes some of the funding. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we run it as efficiently as we can. There was a need to buy 2 ambulances within 3 years, and the debt service on those ambulances is really the reason why right now that we need a subsidy from the town.
Did that answer your question? I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Mr. Moderator, I've been going on this ambulance for 47 years. Back when I started on this, the fire department owned the ambulance. We ran it, independent organization. It couldn't sustain itself. You can't sustain it today on what the chief just said. At $144 for a run, you run a paramedic on this ambulance. Let's be serious. If we want to have the service in this town that we have, the fire department we have, and the ambulance that we have, we need to fund it. It's no longer you call, we haul that call. Those days are long gone. We now run paramedic level ambulance. We have it out the door within minutes. We are very fortunate in this community. If you want to save money, let's go back to the old call system. When I first got on, how did that work? There was one person in the station. The ambulance would be called for. They'd pick up the phone. They would call my house. I would get dressed, get in my car, and drive to the station. That delayed the response time. Yes, we can save money. Yes, we can go back in time, but we're living now. And I would like to live.
I think that about covered that. Any further discussion? Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes. Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes. Yes, ma'am. Question's been moved. All those in favor of Article 8, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I don't think so. Article passes. Sir? Yes, sir.
I would respectfully request that, as moderator, you, moderate the discussion and refrain from editorializing regarding what particular view of what others in the audience say.
All right, thank you. It's my first time out.
No, I understand Mr. Wagner respectfully, but I think it's very important that the town meeting members understand that you are fairly and judiciously moderating the discussion that is on the floor and not bringing your personal view of the value of any particular statement out into the public.
Noted. Thank you. Article 9, sewer. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the following funds to operate the sewer department. Direct costs of $2,999,280, of which $2,980,560 is to come from the sewer revenue, and $18,720 is to come from the tax levy and indirect costs of $371,956, of which $192,052 is to come from the sewer revenue, and $179,904 is to come from the sewer retained earnings, or to take any action therein or relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Copeland.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $2,999,280 for direct cost, of which $2,980,560 is to come from sewer revenue, and $18,720 is to come from the tax levy, and indirect costs of $371,956, of which $192,052 is to come from sewer revenue, and $179,904 is to come from sewer retained earnings to operate the sewer department as contained in Article 9 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Motion been seconded. Is there discussion? None being noted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Article 10, water. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the following funds to operate the water department. Direct costs of $2,705,385, of which $2,652,180 is to come from water revenue, and $53,205 is to come from water retained earnings, and indirect costs of $297,781 is to come from water retained earnings, or to take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, recommended by FinCom.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $2,705,385 for direct costs, of which $2,652,180 is to come from water revenue, and $53,205 is to come from water retained earnings, and indirect costs of $297,781 to come from water retained earnings to operate the water department as contained in Article 10 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? None noted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article passes. Borrow article, Article 11. Capital budget request. To see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow the sum set out in the warrant and hereby listed for the purposes of funding the following equipment, services, and public works projects. All costs incidental and related thereto as contained in the capital budget. Each sum hereafter to be voted on separately, provided that any premium received by the town upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, lest any such premium applied to the payment of these costs, issuance of such bonds or notes may be applied to the payment of the costs approved hereunder in accordance with General Law, Chapter 44:20, thereby reducing by a like amount the amount authorized to borrow to pay such costs or take any action thereto or relation therein. Department Information Technology, townwide server upgrades, $45,000. We have to vote on this one at a time? Susan? Each line? Okay. Thought it said it did. Parks Department, pickup truck with plow, $40,000. DPW admin, Maine and Columbia Design, $250,000. DPW Highway Department, road paving, $150,000. DPW Highway, front end loader, $230,000. Water Enterprise, Spec Pond PFAS improvements, $2,630,000. Groton Shirley Road water main, $575,000. Water main replacements, $150,000. Spec Pond filter media, $350,000. Sewer Enterprise, infiltration inflow repairs, $500,000. Groton Shirley Road sewer, $500,000. 1-ton utility truck with plow, $75,000. The total is $5,495,000. Sponsored Board of Selectmen. FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Ms. Livingston.
I move that the town vote to authorize the borrowing of the total sum of $5,495,000 for the purposes of funding the equipment, services, and projects as contained in Article 11 and read by the moderator.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? Sir?
Mr. Moderator,
Yes, sir.
through you, the Department of Public Works Superintendent Mark Wetzel could speak to the PFAS request in the article. The issue of water quality, respectfully, is somewhat out of the scope of the article, but that's at your discretion.
Let's respond to the PFAS.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Excuse me. My name is Mark Wetzel. I'm the Superintendent of Public Works. And I'll just give you a very brief update on PFAS because I could probably spend the next 2 hours talking about it. But as most of you know, in 2016, we discovered this chemical, per and polyfluorinated alkyl substances, or PFAS chemical. It's also known as a forever chemical. It does not degrade in the environment. It stays there forever and it travels through the aquifer. We discovered it at our Grove Pond wells as a result of some investigations that the Devon's Superfund cleanup was doing. At that point, and there's still not a regulated standard. There are health advisories. The state is very close to establishing a regulated standard of 20 parts per trillion. At the Grove Pond well fields, the levels range from about 11 parts per trillion at the lowest of our 3 wells there to about 270 parts per trillion. The well with the 270 parts per trillion is being treated with a temporary treatment system with granular activated carbon, and we're in the process of building an ion exchange treatment process at that site, which will treat all 3 wells, and it should be completed in early September. We'd hoped to have it completed by now, but because of the COVID shutdown with a lot of businesses, it slowed down the delivery of some of the treatment materials. So that will treat those 3 wells. The Spectacle Pond has levels in the low 30s of parts per trillion, so it's over what the state has for an advisory right now of 20, and which will be the new regulated standard of 20. So I'm receiving the 90% design plans this week, and we'll be bidding them probably in mid-July. And so that will probably be about 9 months to a year of construction with those. And we do have the article here, the Borer article. The cost for the Grove Pond is about $4.4 million, of which we've worked with the EPA and some of our legislature's office, Senator Warren's office, and got the Army to pay for that. This project at Spec Pond, we took some of the Grove Pond money and at Fall Town meeting transferred it for the construction of this project, but we need additional money. It's a little bit different treatment process, and it's also a different site. We've got a lot of wetlands issues. We're not as close to the sewer system, so we have some issues there. So that's going to be about a $6.2 million project. I'm in the process of applying for a $200,000 grant right now, and we have received state revolving fund money for that project, which is really a low-interest loan with some principal forgiveness. So we have to appropriate the total amount, and then we can apply for grants to offset that.
Mr. Wetzel, I believe the gentleman has a second question. You got a second question? No? About water quality?
And if anybody is interested, we do regularly post information on the town website. Every time I get new samples of the well, we do it quarterly. Every time I get new samples, plus we take samples out in the distribution system, and that gets posted. And our levels in the distribution system are around 20 to 25 parts per trillion.
Sir?
Well, hopefully, I had hoped if Grove Pond Treatment Plant was online at this point, we wouldn't have had to have a water ban. But because construction got delayed, so really what's happened is, so we have about a 2 million gallon a day capacity at Grove Pond. We have to have one well shut off completely, and we have another one running at about a third capacity. So we're lucky if we can get 1 to 1.2 million gallons a day out of that plant. And still keep the water quality as low as possible. So I would expect when we get get that treatment plant online, then we will not have to have a water ban. So I'm anticipating, I was hoping we weren't going to have one this summer, but next summer we should be in pretty good shape water-wise.
Mr. Pedertha.
For the II repairs, it's most of we've done a complete sewer system evaluation, and there's a little bit everywhere. We did one phase, which we did some basically what we're doing is relining the sewer, and you may have seen some of the trucks out in the fall and the winter. Bly Street had a significant issue. We're going to be doing some work along Grove Pond. We have an interceptor there. We did some work on Washington Street. So we have a plan, and the 500,000 is just sort of each year we're going to be doing something. So that's the beginning, but we do have a plan with a priority. Yes, so the pipes in the town were installed in the mid-40s, so we've got a lot of cracks and leaks. We've got some manholes that have leaks in them, so that's what we're repairing.
Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
Did you say the liners? So the question was, how long will the sewer liners last? And they're basically fiberglass liners. So I would guess that unless there's a structural defect in the pipe, that it will last probably 50 years at least. We have TV'd all of them, so if we see a structural defect like a crack that the liner won't seal up, then we actually dig that section up and repair it.
Yes, ma'am.
We've completed the design. We're just finishing up the review and the comments, so it should be bid probably in a month or so, and then start construction in probably September and be completed this construction season. With the exception of the road paving, one of the reasons why we're proposing the project is we need to repave the road. And we don't want to repave the road this year and then next year put in sewer, because everyone will say, well, you're digging up the new road. So that's our whole capital plan when we're doing paving. You may have noticed High Street, we just put in a new water main, and that'll get paved either this fall or next spring. So we like to wait a little bit of time after we put the utilities in. We will do some temporary paving out there. So after we put the water and the sewer in, it will be better than it is now, but it won't be the finished product. So next spring, we would come in and we'll basically dig up all the pavement and put in all new fresh pavement.
Any further discussion? None being noted. All those in favor of Article 11, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. Moderator,
Sir.
could you declare that a unanimous vote since we used two-thirds vote for the borrowing?
It was unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Transfer articles, capital budget request, Article 12. To see if the town will vote to transfer from capital stabilization the following sums listed for the purpose of funding the following equipment, services, and public works projects, and all costs incidental or related thereto as contained in the capital budget. Each sum hereafter will be voted on separately or taken any action thereon or in relation thereto, as written in the warrant.
Hey, Sean? Is that you?
Selectman Copeland?
Number 12?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer $171,000 from capital stabilization for the purposes of funding the equipment, services, and projects contained in Article 12 and read by the moderator.
Do you have a second?
Second?
We have any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. It was passed unanimous, two-thirds vote required. Article 13, transfer article for police department high-risk prevention equipment. To see if the town will vote to transfer from the unexpended borrowing authorization totaling $10,644 as voted under Article 13 of the May 14th, 2018 annual town meeting, police department upgrade evidence/property storage to pay for police department high-risk event protection equipment, or to take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to transfer the unexpected sum of $10,644 as authorized to be borrowed by the vote taken under Article 13 of May 14, 2018 annual town meeting for the police department upgrade evidence/property storage to pay the costs of the police department high-risk event protection equipment as contained in Article 13 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Motion been seconded. Do we have any discussion? Sir. Your name and address, please.
Mr. Moderator,
Sir,
through you, I would yield to Chief Murray to explain what the equipment is.
please. Chief?
Moderator. I'm sorry, who asked the question? Yes, sir. It's for ballistic helmets and first aid equipment that officers would use at active shooter scenes. You're welcome. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Mr. Fay?
Fire Department.
Mr. Moderator,
Sir?
through you to Mr. Fay's question, Article 13, which is before the body, is for police, and Article 20 is for fire.
Yes, sir.
And the question is on the funding. I think respectfully, we should just take them in order.
I agree. It, Article 20 specifically addresses the fire department. True. Any further discussion on Article 13? Yes, sir, Mr. Fay? Would you like to make a motion? Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor of taking the articles out of order, say aye. Opposed?
No.
No has it. Any further discussion on Article 13? And none being, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We're deferring Article 14.
You got to read it so I can make the motion.
All right. Article 14, UDAG replacements. To see if the town will vote to transfer $230,000 from free cash to replenish the Urban Development Action Grant UDAG account for the following: Worthingdale Department, Depot Square, eminent domain settlement, $230,000. Or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator,
Sullivan?
I move that the town vote to defer Article 14 to the special fall town meeting to be held on October 26, 2020.
Second that.
All in favor? I'm sorry, any discussion? I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Article 14 is deferred. Article 15. GASB 45/OPEB, Post-Employment Benefits Funds. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $129,700 and transfer $170,300 from free cash, totaling the sum of $300,000 to meet the town's obligation under Government Accounting Standards Board, Statement 45, to fund the town's future obligation for the cost of other post-employment benefits, OPEB, or take any action thereto or in relation thereto. Sponsored Board of Selectmen, FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Copeland.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $129,700 and transfer $170,300 from free cash for a total of $300,000 to meet the town's obligations under the Government Accounting Standards Board, Statement 45, for the purposes of funding the town's future obligation for the cost of other post-employment benefits as contained in Article 15 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes, sir.
through you to Mr. Kelly, and the question was some examples of post-employment benefits. All municipalities in Massachusetts are being asked, are required to fund post-employment benefits, specifically health insurance benefits, benefits for retirees after their employment with the town of Ayer. For years, that was unfunded, and now we're being asked to fund those post-employment benefits, such as health insurance for retirees is an example. And we have a board of trustees for the OPEB that meets quarterly, has a selectman representative, FinCom representative, meets quarterly to review the fund. And if you go to the town's website, there's a whole OPEB webpage that has the statements of the accounts as well as all of the minutes.
Further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Article 16, raise and appropriate articles. First year interest, general fund borrowing, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $60,775 required to provide the first year's interest charges and associated administrative expenses on all general fund borrowing / bonding authorized by this town meeting or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Hood.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $60,775 required to provide the first year's interest charges and associated administrative expenses on all general fund borrowing, bonding authorized by this town meeting as contained in Article 16 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Article's been seconded. Discussion. Do we have any discussion? We have none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Article 17, funding for aquatic weed control in town ponds. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 for the purpose of funding the aquatic weed control program for the town's ponds and any incidental and related costs or expenses, or to take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Funds are to be spent by June 30th, 2023. Unexpended funds on June 30, 2023 to close and revert to general fund balance. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. FinCom recommend.
Mr. Moderator,
Ms. Livingston.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $30,000 for the purpose of funding the aquatic weed control program for the town's ponds as contained in Article 17 and read by the moderator.
Second.
The article's been seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Bedurth.
Mr. Moderator, through you, and this article is sort of a standing article each year, and this question comes up. Through you, if there's a member of the Conservation Commission which oversees this program and recommends it, that may want to speak to the merits of it, through you, Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator, Mr. John Schallenberger is the chair of the Conservation Commission.
Please, sir. Please.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes, sir.
John Schmallenberger, number 2 Calvin Street, Ayer, Mass. And it's true that a good chunk of Flanagan's or Fletcher's pond is over private property. And it's a little difficult to separate the water over the private property from the rest of the pond. It's a little bit like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We think it's in the best interest of the town as far as health of the pond and the town that we treat the invasive milfoil and fanwort. If it is allowed to go unchecked, it will choke out the ponds over time and create a health issue. It'll become like a mosquito-infested swamp. And in the day of Nile virus and Triple E, I think it's a health issue for the whole town, and we need to treat the ponds.
Please.
Right. As far as the ongoing discussion with the individual that owns the property, I can't speak to that. I don't know. I can't speak to it. I don't know.
Sir.
The $30,000 is basically a maintenance cost to keep the invasives at bay. And it will more than likely, until it becomes a complete cure, it will be a yearly expense.
Any further questions? Thank you, sir. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of Article 17, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Article 18, funding for the Conservation Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for the purpose of funding the town's Conservation Fund established pursuant to the provisions of General Law, Chapter 48C, or to take any action thereon in relation thereto, sponsored by the Board of Selectmen and approved by the FinCom.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Copeland.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $5,000 for the purpose of funding the town's conservation fund established pursuant to provision GL Chapter 40, Section 8C, as contained in Article 18 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Mr. Diskin's question, which was for a general accounting of the fund. He is correct. Town meeting created the conservation fund, town meeting of fall of 2018, at which time we transferred $500,000 from the CPC funds into that fund. In the spring town meeting of 2019, this similar article put 5,000 in, and we're recommending through this article another 5,000. So if this passed, the balance would be approximately $510,000 in the fund, which purpose is used to acquire conservation land in the town of Ayer.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of Article 18, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Article 19, matching funding for firefighters grant. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,500 as matching funds, 5% of the matching funds, for our federal assistance to firefighters grant or take any action thereon or in relation thereto, sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $2,500 as matching funds for federal assistance to firefighters grant as contained in Article 19 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? None. All those in favor of Article 19, say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Article 20, see if the town will, funding for fire department tactical ballistic gear. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purposes of purchasing tactical ballistic gear for the Ayer Fire Department or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Livingston.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $10,000 for the purchasing tactical ballistic gear for the Ayer Fire Department as contained in Article 20 and read by the moderator.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Do we have discussion? Mr. Fay. Chief Pedrazi.
Yeah, Mr. Moderator. Mr. Fay, so there has been some changes probably since you've been involved in this, but it's a rescue task force where the police and fire go in together to rescue victims in conjunction. There's going to be no union issues with this because it's in the union contract to put these gears, 2 sets on each ambulance and 1 set on the first arriving engine. And there is, some of the personnel have already been trained. We have been training with the police department. We have a committee set up that the police chief sits on to put a standard operating procedure together. We're kind of in a holding pattern where the state is coming out with a unified plan for the whole state. So it's nothing, it's something new, but it's nothing new, and, you know, we hope it never happens. We hope we never have to use this stuff. But we need to have it if we do need to use it. The guys need to be protected.
This is so we can get our first responders and then our medical people in fast, in order to save people who have been injured. There's no police department will take care of these. We run over them. But once, while we're running to them and trying to secure that area, we get the fire department in as soon as we can. Staff is showing us wait, have more people die. Unnecessarily. So this is kind of the new national way.
Sir?
Coming to that door, and you hear it say, jump on the back of everything, something's not right. I turn to the officer and I say, you go first. Why? You know that. Okay, so these situations have occurred. I've been here throughout my time in the department for 7 years. The other consideration here is not just my protection, but in a situation, not an active shooter, not an active shooter, but if there's an officer who is injured and down, and that fire, that paramedic has to go in to rescue that officer, they need to have protection. This is something, it's long coming. It's more than public eye now. It's something this goes back many years that we need to protect not only our officers, but our firefighters, paramedics.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor of Article 20 say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 21. Huh? I did. Ayes have it. I'm sorry. Article 21, funding for the town's 150th celebration. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purposes of the town of Ayer's 150th anniversary celebration to take place in the year 2021, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $10,000 for the purposes of the town of Ayer's 150th anniversary celebration as contained in Article 21 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Article's been seconded. We have any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 21, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article passed. Article 22, funding for the Muni financial software system upgrades. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,400 for the purposes of upgrading the town's Muni, is that right? Munis financial software system, including but not limited to the purchase of software and any needed hardware, and installation and technical support for the same, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $6,400 for the purpose of upgrading the town's Munis financial software system as contained in Article 22 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 22 say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article passed. Article 23, the adoption of the provisions of MGL Chapter 40, Section 13D, creation of a reserve fund for future payments of an accrued liabilities for compensated absences. To see if the town will vote to accept the provisions of the MGL Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 13D, to create a reserve fund for future payments of the accrued liability for compensated absences due to employees or officials of the town of Ayer upon termination of their employment or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, recommended by the FinCom.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Livingston.
I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 13D, to create a reserve fund for future payments of accrued liability for compensated absences due to employees or officials of the town upon termination of their employment as contained in Article 23 and read by the moderator.
Second.
Article's been seconded. We have any discussion? Mr. Kelly. I'm sorry?
Yes.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sir.
Through you to Mr. Kelly's question, what we're asking the town meeting to do is adopt Chapter 40, Section 13D, which would allow the town to create a reserve fund. And the reserve fund would be for compensated absences or balances when somebody leaves work from the town of Ayer. As you know, people have contractual vacation and other benefits that the town is legally obligated to pay out upon their termination of service. What we do right now is sort of on a case-by-case basis. As you can appreciate, retirements don't happen in a neat budget cycle. Sometimes they pop up mid-year and so forth. So historically, we've had to go to the respective department that the employee is retiring from and take the funding from the department if it's available. If not, we've had to go to the town's reserve fund and get that funding. What this would do would allow us to create a planning fund that we'll get to in a minute. Article 24 would start to fund it, that when an individual retires from the town, whenever that may be, the town from that fund can pay out any of the compensated balances. Yep. So through the moderator, and the question from Mr. Kelly is about sick leave and how is it accrued in vacation time and so forth. In the interest of time, it varies from union contract and personal service contract to contract. Some contracts allow a certain amount of sick leave to be bought back. Some contracts don't allow any to be bought back. Many folks accrued vacation that they have remaining on the books, they're allowed to buy back a certain cap. So all of those obligated funds would come out of this reserve fund. There are 6 unions, each 6 are different, as are the non-union contracts as well.
Where are you?
So,
Oh, I'm trying, I can't see anybody talking.
So, Mr. Moderator, the question is, how does the money get into the fund? The money gets into the fund through town meeting. So, for the purposes of tonight, we don't have the fund. So, Article 23, which is before you right now, we're asking town meeting to create the fund. If town meeting creates the fund, then in just a minute, Article 24 asks town meeting to transfer $50,000 from free cash into the fund. Lastly, the town's finance manager has calculated, based on an actuarial analysis, that over the next 3 years, if we can get the fund to about $150,000, that will cover retirements and separation from service moving forward. But to fund it, the funding must be appropriated by town meeting. Mr. Moderator, to Mr. Curran's question, they're not. For example, if I may, Chief Pedrazi has announced his retirement, which is public for October. At the time that decision was made, and that's no fault of the chief, we didn't know he was retiring. Therefore, why would we budget for unknown components? You see what I'm saying? In other words, when somebody retires, they have a level of accrued balances and so forth that need to be paid out. We wouldn't just put those in the budget until we have a retirement notice. Yeah. Through the moderator, no, not necessarily. They're accrued. So if an employee is hired, like I was hired 10 years ago, if I separate from service from the town of Ayer tomorrow, there's a certain amount of accrued. It varies from employee to employee. The point is to create a fund so we have the financial resources to address it without having to go on a case-by-case basis through each department.
Mr. Moderator, may I?
Please.
So the example you're using where you have an employee with $100,000 for a year of expenses, we only budget for that 1 year. So if they have 3 weeks of accrued vacation that's allotted to them within that $100,000, but they only use 2, they accrue that 1 week, which carries over. We don't budget for that 1 week that they're accruing on the books as we go forward. So therefore, this fund is when someone does do a separation of service, per the contract, they have a certain level of sick time and also PTO that they're able to accrue that's not reflected in the annual budget every year. Correct.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of Article 23 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 23 passes. Article 24, funding of the reserve fund for future payments of accrued liabilities for compensated absences. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $50,000 for funding the town's reserve fund in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 13D, for future payments of accrued liability for compensated absences due to employees of the town of Ayer upon termination of their employment, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. FinCom recommend.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Copeland.
I move that the town vote to transfer $50,000 from free cash for the purpose of funding the town's reserve fund in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 13D, as contained in Article 24 and read by the moderator.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 24 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Article passed. Article 25, forward funding of the town's pension assessment. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $300,000 from the free cash for the purposes of forward funding the town's pension assessment from Middlesex County Retirement System, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to defer Article 25 to the special fall town meeting on October 26, 2020.
Seconded.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of deferring Article 25, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Article passed. Article 26, stabilization fund. to see if the town will vote to transfer $949,139 from free cash or such other sum or sums of money with $9,139 to be credited to the stabilization fund under provisions of Chapter 40, Section 5B of the general laws, and $940,000 be credited to capital stabilization fund per the town's financial policies or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, FinCom recommends.
I'm sorry, we're on Article 26, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I dozed for a second there. Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to defer Article 26 to the special fall town meeting on October 26, 2020.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of deferring Article 26 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Article passed.
This is the Article 27. You printed it on 50. Oh my goodness.
All right. Community Preservation Act articles. Article 27, Community Preservation Act. To see if the town will hear and act on the report of the Community Preservation Committee on fiscal year 2021 Community Preservation Act budget and appropriate from estimated FY 2021 Community Preservation Fund revenues a sum of money equal to 5% and not to exceed $5,000 to meet the administrative expenses and all other necessary and proper expenses of the Community Preservation Committee for fiscal year 2021. And further, to reserve future appropriations from the estimated fiscal year 2021 Community Preservation Fund revenues, the following sums of money as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for each of the following purposes. A sum of money equal to $67,984 more or less for acquisition, creation, and preservation of the open space, including land for recreational use, and sum of money equal to $67,984 more or less for acquisition, preservation, restoration, and rehabilitation of historic resources, and the sum of money equal to $67,984 more or less for acquisition, creation, and preservation and support of housing community. And the remainder sum of $458,885 for the Community Preservation Fund 2021 budgeted reserve, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Community Preservation Committee, Board of Selectmen recommends, FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Copeland.
I move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $5,000 to meet the administrative expenses and all other necessary and proper expenses of the Community Preservation Committee for fiscal year 2021, and to appropriate the sum of $67,984 for acquisition, creation, preservation, restoration, and rehabilitation of open space, excluding land for recreational use, and to appropriate the sum of $67,984 for acquisition, preservation, restoration, and rehabilitation of historic resources, and to appropriate the sum of $67,984 for acquisition, creation, preservation, restoration, rehabilitation, and support of community housing, and to appropriate the remainder sum of $458,885 for the Community Preservation Fiscal Year 2021 Budget Reserve as contained in Article 27 and read by the moderator and recommended by the Community Preservation Committee.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Do we have any discussion? None being noted. All those in favor of Article 27 say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Article 27 passes. Article 28, Community Preservation Fund FY 2021 transfer of funds. To see if the town will vote to transfer from Community Preservation Fund FY 2021 estimated annual revenues the sum of $12,000 to be added to the amount appropriated for the Community Preservation Act FY 2021 administrative expenses under Article 27 of this annual town meeting. And such sum to be used for due diligence, including title searches and related administrative tasks for potential open space acquisitions or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Community Preservation Committee. Board of Selectmen recommends, Finance Committee recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to transfer $12,000 from the Community Preservation Fund fiscal year 2021 estimated annual revenues to be added to the amount appropriate for the Community Preservation Committee fiscal year 2021 administrative expenses under Article 27 of the June 15, 2020 annual town meeting for the purpose of due diligence, including the title search and related administrative tasks for potential open space acquisitions as contained in Article 28 and read by the moderator and recommended by the Community Preservation Committee.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 28, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it, article passed. Article 29, Historical Resources Inventory Project. See if the town will vote to transfer from the Community Preservation Fund FY 2021 balance reserve from Historic Resources category the sum of money not to exceed $20,000 to support the Ayer Historical Commission's Historical Resources Inventory Project or to take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by Community Preservation Committee. Historical Committee recommends, Board of Selectmen recommends, FinCom recommends.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Livingston.
I move that the town vote to transfer $20,000 from the Community Preservation Fund FY 2021 balance reserve from Historic Resources category for the purpose of the Ayer Historical Commission's Historical Resources Inventory Project as contained in Article 29 and read by the moderator and recommended by the Community Preservation Committee.
Seconded. Second.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 29 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Article 29 passes. Article 30, bylaw amendment. Change the name of Board of Selectmen to Select Board. To see if the town will vote to amend the general bylaws for the purposes of changing the name of Board of Selectmen to that of Select Board as follows, or to take any action thereon or in relation to. Sponsored by Board of Selectmen.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Selectman Copeland.
I move that the town vote to amend the general bylaws for the purposes of changing the name of Board of Selectmen to that of Select Board as contained in Article 30 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor of Article 30, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Article passed. Article 31, zoning bylaw amendment. Reduction of off-street parking for the downtown transit-oriented lifestyle district. To see if the town of Ayer will amend the Ayer zoning bylaw by reducing the off-street parking space requirements for the T6 transit, downtown transit-oriented lifestyle district, in the downtown/Park Street form-based code district DPSFBC for all residential uses from those presently listed in section 9.1.2A2 to one space per dwelling unit regardless of the number of bedrooms. This amendment is for the T6 transect zone only. All other parking requirements found in section 9.1.2A of the Ayer zoning bylaw will remain unchanged. Insert the following text after the only sentence in Ayer zoning bylaw, section 9.1.2A2, residential uses, by adding the following sentence. Notwithstanding the requirements of the preceding sentence, in the T6 zone, downtown transit-oriented lifestyle district of the downtown/Park Street form-based code district, DPSFBC, dwelling shall only be required to provide one space per unit regardless of the numbers of bedroom in the unit, or take any action thereon or in relation to. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, Planning Board to report to the town meeting.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to amend the Ayer zoning bylaw by reducing the off-street parking space requirement for the T6 Transect Downtown Transit-Oriented Lifestyle District in the downtown/Park Street Form-Based Code District, DPSFBC, for all residential uses from those presently listed in section 9.1.2A.2 to one space per dwelling unit regardless of the number of bedrooms, as contained in Article 31 and read by the moderator. This amendment is for the T6 transect zone only. All of the parking requirements found in section 9.1.2A of the Ayer zoning bylaw will remain unchanged.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Moderator,
Sure.
through you, the town planner, Mr. Archambault, I believe can explain this in a nutshell to the benefit of town meeting, what it does.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you, Mr. Moderator. That's a bird's eye view of downtown Ayer. Next. Closer in. Next. So briefly, what this is doing is proposing to reduce the parking requirement for new residential units in the most densely developed part of downtown Ayer to one space per dwelling unit, regardless of the number of bedrooms. Next. You might recall that last year at town meeting, there was a form-based code adopted, and there are three subsections of that. There's the transit-oriented lifestyle district that is the subject of this article, right around the Park Street, Main Street intersection. And that part of the form-based code district consists of large-scale buildings that really doesn't have room for parking. And we're starting to get applications under the form-based code for that district. And in order to make these developments work, we need to reduce the parking a little bit from 1.5 or 2 down to 1. And so this article will help us to achieve downtown redevelopments in a way that is consistent with the purpose of the form-based code district. And transit is a key word in that. Sorry, my mask keeps slipping here. People that are expected to live in apartments here will be most likely taking the commuter rail into Boston for work. And so it's anticipated that the number of parking spaces that they would require would be less than what exists for the more outlying parts of the downtown. So it's a very simple thing. We're starting just with this district to see how it works and see if this helps the development in downtown. And if it does work, then we may look at some of the parking standards for the rest of the town. But for now, we're starting small and we're just doing it for the core area.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, that's my presentation.
Thank you. We have any discussion? There being none, all those in favor of Article 31 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article passed.
Moderator, Mr. Moderator,
Excuse me. Sir?
This article requires a two-thirds vote, and so I recommend that. Fortunately, if it's not unanimous, the moderator has the authority to count the two-thirds vote, so a count would be necessary.
All right.
Just ask someone.
All those in favor of the article, stand and hold the card up, please. All those opposed, please stand and hold the card. Count shows 45 for the article and 3 opposed. The article passes. Yes, sir?
I don't know what the number is, but I would actually request everyone to stay in the auditorium. I'm not sure what for is the town meeting. The numbers that you,
There was a couple, I think, that didn't vote, from what I could see too.
I understand, but it seems like we've lost a lot of people.
Mr. Moderator, just for a brief clarification on that point, if nobody calls for a count of the quorum, we're fine. Please.
Article 32. Redapt to the Town of Ayer general bylaws in their entirety. See if the town will accept the renumbering and revision of the various bylaws of the town from their original numbering or their numbering of the general bylaws as amended through October 28, 2019 to the numbering, codification, arrangement, sequence, and captions, and comprehensive revisions to the text of the general bylaws set forth in the final draft of the bylaws and regulations of the town of Ayer, Massachusetts. Said codification having been done under the direction of the Board of Selectmen and Town Council, said code being a compilation and comprehensive revision to the present bylaws of the town. All bylaws of the general and permanent nature as amended, therefore in force and not included in the code shall be repealed, except that such repeal shall not affect any suit or proceeding pending as a result of an existing law, and such repeal shall not apply to or affect any bylaw, order, or article therefore adopted, accepting or adopting provisions of any statute of the Commonwealth. These bylaws shall be referred to as the bylaws and regulations of the town of Ayer, Massachusetts. A copy is available for viewing at the town's website, www.ayer.mass.ma.us, and will be available at the office of the town clerk if and when it is open to the public, and take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Livingston.
I move that the town vote to accept the renumbering and revision of the various bylaws of the town from their original numbering or their numbering in the general bylaws as amended through October 28, 2019, to the numbering or codification arrangement, sequence, and captions, and the comprehensive revisions to the text of the general bylaws as set forth in the final draft of the bylaws and regulations of the Town of Ayer, Massachusetts, as contained in Article 32 and read by the moderator.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Bedurtha.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear it.
You want to amend the article? You have to have it be written, yes?
Do you have it in writing? Okay. The amendment is for Article 32. Prior to making these changes, if passed, the responsible party shall confirm that a pre-change copy of the bylaws has been placed in secure fire water storage. So in other words, the current bylaws are in the vault, the town clerk vault. It doesn't, but you don't want to specify that location, just placed in.
Mr. Moderator,
Please.
to the amendment, and the amendment, as the clerk read, is asking for Mr. Bedurth's amendment about having a secure location for the bylaws and regulations. The town clerk is the keeper of the bylaws, which are kept in a fireproof, secure vault at Town Hall. And what we're proposing with Article 32 and Article 33 is just a reorganization of the bylaws and the regulations. It doesn't change the substance. And what is nice about this proposal is it creates an online platform for any residents to clearly access the bylaws and the regulations and to type in search words. If you've ever had to navigate the existing bylaws and regulations, and this is no reflection on anyone, this is why we did this project. In doing this general code that will do these updates, this data will also be secure on the platform as well. So I'd argue that in addition to the fireproof vault that the bylaws are kept in, it would also be backed up now digitally moving forward.
Sir? It's been seconded. Oh, well, his
The amendment.
amendment has not been seconded. Do we have a second? All right. Article's been seconded.
Correct.
We need to take a vote on the amendment to the article. All those in favor of amending the article to include the amend the article to add, prior to making these changes, if passed, responsible party shall confirm that a pre-change copy of the bylaws has been placed in a secure fire water storage. All those in favor of the change or the addition of the amendment to Article 32 signify by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
Then pass. All right, back to Article 32. All those in favor of Article 32 as read signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article has passed. Article 33, readapt the town Ayer zoning bylaw in its entirety. See if the town shall accept the numbering and revision of zoning bylaw of the town from its original numbering as amended through October 28, 2019, as written in the article.
Mr. Moderator,
Sir.
I move that the town vote to accept the renumbering and revision of the zoning bylaw of the town from its original numbering as amended through October 28, 2019, to the numbering or codification, arrangement, sequence, and captions in the comprehensive revisions to the text of the zoning bylaw as set forth in the final draft of the bylaws and regulations of the town of Ayer, Massachusetts, as contained in Article 33 and read by the moderator.
Second.
Article's been seconded. Do we have any discussion? This being a two-thirds count, we have to, two-thirds majority, we have to count.
Moderator, you start with-
Pardon?
you start with voice vote, see if we get unanimous.
Fair enough. All those in favor of Article 33 in its entirety, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Article 33 passes.
If you can announce that as unanimous.
That's unanimous, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Article 34, street acceptance, Haywood Meadow Lane, Holly Ridge Road, and Apple Blossom Drive. See if the town will vote to accept as town public ways, Hay Meadow Lane from Station 9 plus 00 to Station 20 plus 73.53, Holly Ridge Road from Station 0 plus 00 to Station 13 plus 68.54, and Apple Blossom Drive from Station 0 to Station 5 plus in the town of Ayer, County of Middlesex, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as heretofore laid out by the Board of Selectmen as shown on the plan entitled Ridgeview Heights, definitive subdivision plan in Ayer as prepared by David E. Ross Associates, a copy which is on file with the town clerk, and to see if the town will further vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by eminent domain, purchase, gift, or otherwise the fee to or easements in said roadways together with related drainage, utility, and other easements, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Sponsored by the Board of Selectmen.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Hood.
I move that the town vote to accept as town public ways Hay Meadow Lane from Station 9 plus 00 to Station 20 plus 73.53, Holly Ridge Road from Station 0 plus 00 to Station 13 plus 68.54, and Apple Blossom Drive from Station 0 plus 00 to Station 5 plus 00 in the town of Ayer, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire the fee to or easements in said roadways together with all related drainage, utility, and other easements as contained in Article 34 and read by the moderator.
Seconded.
Article's been seconded. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. Moderator,
Sir.
through you to the question on the floor of town meeting. These are streets and portions of streets in Pingree Hill that are being accepted. The planning board did hold the required hearings and the DPW superintendent has stated that all of the work pre-acceptance has been completed.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of Article 34, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article passed. Article 35, grant of easement to National Grids on Groton Street to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to grant an easement to National Grid for the transmission of electrical current upon a portion of town-owned property which is located on the southerly side of Groton Street, shown in parcel A on the plan of land recorded by Middlesex South District Registry of Deeds in Plan Book 63 of 2018 for the purposes of installing one pole with wires and cables installed thereon, all necessary foundations, anchors, guides, braces, fittings, equipment, and appurtenances referred to as the overhead system over, across, under, and upon the town-owned property as shown on the sketch plan on file with the town clerk on such terms and conditions and for such consideration as the Board of Selectmen deem appropriate, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter in all agreements and to execute on behalf of the town any and all instruments as may be necessary or convenient to effect the purpose of this article, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto, sponsored by the Board of Selectmen.
Mr. Moderator,
Selectman Livingston.
I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to grant an easement to National Grid for the transmission of electric current upon town-owned property located on the southerly side of Groton Street, as described in the article, on such terms and conditions as the Board of Selectmen deems appropriate, as contained in Article 35 and read by the moderator.
Second.
Article's been seconded. We have any discussion? Yes, Mr.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Bedurtha wanted to know if we would, if it was going to be put underground, or are we staying in the overhead?
Mr. Moderator?
Sir.
Through you to Mr. Bedurtha's question, which was about the utilities being put underground. This easement is for the Ayer rail trail parking facility constructed by MART. You can see it on the map here, and highlighted in yellow is the portion National Grid is looking for the easement to put the utility pole for the facility. The scope of project by MART and National Grid did not account for underground utilities, where there's considerably more cost. So the article is asking town meeting to authorize the Board of Selectmen to negotiate the easement for the utilities. But it was outside of the scope of National Grid and MART's project to put it underground.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor of Article 35 say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Article passed. That being the end of the articles, we can entertain a motion to adjourn. Seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.